This week, we get super excited that the premiere of Ironheart is here. We talk about a decades-old Spider-Man cliffhanger that's finally going to get resolved. We go over some of the stuff that we've been watching to tide ourselves over through the summer, and a whole lot more. Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse. Warning.
Red alert.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger!
That's the emergency alert.
This episode is full of spoilers for some of the latest and greatest nerdy movies and shows.
Spoilers.
Listener discretion is advised.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse podcast. I'm Billy Taylor.
And I'm Taylor Oxer.
And welcome back. We're excited to talk about all the new stuff going on this week. But before we jump into that, Taylor, what have you been nerding out about this week, man?
Nerding out about this week. Let me think. Oh, so I got Mario Party Jamboree fairly
Nice.
recently, and I finally unlocked every board.
Oh, cool.
So we played the newest board, which was the Bowser board, and it's such just a brutal. You're getting attacked the whole entire time. It's a lot of fun, but it just go in knowing that those stars you got, those are up for grabs at any moment.
Yeah.
they're not your stars until the very end. You know, it's a lot of fun. Oh, I watched a movie called Europa Report. Have you ever seen it?
You know, that sounds familiar, but I can't think of what it is.
It's a magnet movie, so it's not like a super big movie, but it has a handful of really good actors, and they go to see if there's life on one of the moons of Jupiter, Europa.
Oh, okay.
And they find that there's frozen water there, so they're like, there's got to be life, like underneath, even if it's single cell organism, it changes everything we think, right?
Yeah.
And then they get there, and then all hell breaks loose. So, and we're watching everything in past tense.
Okay.
You do know that at the very beginning. So I do recommend it. It's only like an hour and 30 minutes because it is like sort of a horror movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like Apollo 13, but like worse.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like worse as in like acting. I'm talking about like things going wrong.
Gotcha.
And it's in the future, obviously, so it'll be different things. But yeah, it'll keep you glued for the whole hour and 30, trust me. And yeah, it was really, really great. I recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It's not a fun watch, though, I will say that.
Yeah. Is it stressful?
Oh, it's very stressful. It's a very stressful watch, and it ends in a bum out. But it also ends in like a kind of thing. So, I'm not going to ruin it for you since this is kind of a spoilers thing. Billy hasn't seen it, so I'm not going to ruin it for Billy.
Oh, okay.
But you definitely should check it out.
Okay, I definitely will. That sounds kind of right up my alley. I love space movies, and when I used to teach Earth and Space Science at school, we carved out time to watch Apollo 13 every year, and so Apollo 13, but scary and suspenseful. That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, with a little bit more sci-fi on it.
Okay, Europa. Definitely gonna check it out. Where did you watch it? Is it streaming or do you have the DVD?
I have the DVD.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know if our listenership knows, I have a pretty sizable DVD collection.
Oh, it's massive.
So it's kind of one of those things. So it's like, it is when you ask me that, you're genuinely asking me, like, not just, oh, do it's because
Yeah.
you might possibly well have it. Yeah.
There's like
It's
a
one of those.
97% chance the answer is yes.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's a movie night movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a massive collection. If streaming ever decides, you know what, our licensing, blah blah blah, we're done streaming, you're still set.
I truly, at least for up until a certain time.
It's funny because, let's see, my early marriage collection, 15 or so, 16 years ago, I collected so many DVDs and had tons. But at some point, it was probably when Netflix and things like that started getting big. That's kind of when I slowed down because funds weren't great, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I could just stream it. And I know in the back of my mind I was thinking, but what if the streaming rights stop? Then I can't watch it. But around, I'd say 15 years ago, I kind of slowed down on the movie purchasing and then way picked up on the Funko Pop purchasing.
Yeah, I slowed down on it because it was getting harder to find stuff that I didn't have,
Yeah.
which is like a thing. Because I'm a big fan, even though like I love all this nerdy stuff, I'm a big fan of like documentaries, foreign films, a lot of stuff we don't talk about on
Yeah.
like this show. This show just happens to be one of my greatest loves, so it's like one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for a while it's like, hey, let's try to find rare movies, or let's try to find these type of movies, or try to find this director, everything he's done, or this actor, everything that he's done. You know what I mean? You start making lists, and then those lists, it's just like hunting for comics, really.
Yeah.
The only difference is it's most of it's cheaper than comics
Yeah.
once you start really collecting, but at the same time, some stuff's like really hard to get a hold of,
Yeah.
like stupid hard to get a hold of. There's stuff I still would be like, I would love to get a hold of a copy of that, but yeah. Anyway,
I'm trying to think. In my garage is several bins full of my DVDs. I stopped buying them, but I never got rid of them or anything. And
hmm
I'm trying to think, my most obscure purchase was one of my favorite movies as a kid when I was probably far too young to watch it anyway, but it was that movie Drop Dead Fred. Do you remember that movie?
oh yeah, it's a good one.
It took me forever to find a DVD of it, and I just kind of stopped hunting. And I wasn't a big eBay purchaser back then. And I remember one day we were in, maybe it was Vintage Stock or a store like that, and there it was. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting Drop Dead Fred.
That's amazing. I'm trying to think of something. Oh, THX 1138.
Yeah.
That movie took me forever to find a copy that worked in a Blu-ray player or a DVD player that worked in America,
Yeah.
which was bizarre because I could find the Blu-ray of it, but a player that was not region free.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, that's a whole nother thing. Hey, what region? Do you have any other region DVD? I almost bought a second region DVD player for certain stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know, like the Hulk? This is super nerdy. The Incredible Hulk had an '80s cartoon show,
Uh-huh.
and that cartoon show is only available in like hard copy in Europe.
So, yeah, to watch it, you got to have a region unlocked thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, or you can go on YouTube, which I found it. Somebody uploaded at least a few episodes. I don't know if all of them, but that version of the Hulk is probably, I was trying to think about it, and it might be my definitive version of the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, nice.
The way it's drawn, because that, I believe, I might be wrong, but do you remember the VHS Marvel tapes?
I do.
Okay, so you know how like all of them were like taken from shows that were on TV for like all over the place,
Uh-huh.
from like the 80s to like the what, I don't know, probably the 70s or whatever. But the Hulk ones, a lot of those were from that cartoon.
Okay, gotcha.
And that cartoon's version of the, if you could look it up right now, that version of the Hulk is the Hulk that I usually, if I'm thinking about drawing the Hulk, if I think Hulk, that's what I think of.
Okay, that's awesome.
Which is really, I think, kind of random, but yeah.
No, that's cool. I'm trying to think. I had a few of those VHSs. I remember, I feel like one was a Spider-Man one was a Daredevil one.
Yeah, I would love it if Marvel would re-release all that stuff, but I think most of it's like locked up in like rights and stuff. Sometimes they re-release stuff in other DVDs, I've noticed.
Uh-huh.
Like episodes of stuff, like if you watch, I don't know if it's the Captain America Blu-ray or when they re-released, but like they re-released the Captain America cartoon.
Like a special feature or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Of the Captain America throws his mighty shield, like the one that's like, it looks like comic book and they like cut it and then made it move.
Yeah.
That type of animation. Yeah. But that stuff is the stuff that kind of gave me my perception of all of Marvel stuff, were those VHS tapes
Oh yeah.
as a kid. That's how the Green Goblin laughed, like
Yeah.
that. Or and like the way Spider-Man talked to his villains, or and the thwip noise, when the thwip came out.
Yep.
Like forever comics before MCU, that between that and the 90s cartoons, that was my whole view of Marvel.
Yep.
I don't even think I saw, like when Hugh Jackman came out as Wolverine, I don't even think I saw him as that voice. To me, it was Steve Blum, or the guy from the animated series,
Yeah.
as Wolverine still.
Yep.
Anyway,
Oh yeah, same with me. I was a little bit older when I started getting more and more into comics. I mean, I had comics, but same with you. All that animated stuff defined Marvel for me at the time.
yeah, I mean the DC stuff did too, like Batman animated
Oh
series, like
yeah, definitely.
that was the voice. Mark Hamill still is the voice of the Joker to me in comics.
Oh, for sure. Same with Kevin Conroy as
Yeah,
Batman.
that is Bruce Wayne and Batman in comics for me.
Oh yeah, the best voice that ever possibly could have been Batman.
Yeah, and it's almost. I was thinking about this not too long ago. I should have texted you, but how much of it is a waste? The fact that it was wasted on animation,
Right, because he
and
in his prime, he was a strapping, good-looking dude. He could
well, I
have
don't. I mean,
easily been on screen Batman.
sure, but what if they just got somebody else to play but use that voice when he's Batman?
They could have done that easily
I,
too.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just the other day I was thinking, how funny is it that the greatest voice for Batman and Joker, and possibly the greatest voice for a handful of animated characters, were, well, I guess it kind of makes sense. You kind of want exaggerated or these voices for characters if they're animated.
Yeah.
In comics, comics are animated, so maybe that's not ironic. Maybe that is an actual. That makes sense.
Yep.
Huh.
I saw some clip on TikTok. It was in homage to Kevin Conroy, and he appeared on Cheers way back in the day several times. And I literally thought to myself, he could have been live action Batman at that time period.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, let's see. My nerding out is kind of twofold this week. They're both shows. The first one, have you ever watched the show, the Sci Fi Network show, and it's in its fourth season now, Resident Alien with Alan
No.
Tudyk? Oh, it is so good, and I have no idea how I didn't start it until recently. Emily and I both really like it, and I'm trying to think. Season 4 is what's current on TV, and Netflix has seasons 1 through 3. And I was just flipping through. I randomly saw a friend post about something about Resident Alien, and I started thinking, man, I love Alan Tudyk. How have I never watched this? And once I started, I'm not even kidding. We've been watching it not even 2 weeks, and I'm almost through with season 3.
Oh well.
It's so good. Obviously, it has aliens, it has sci-fi, shape-shifting. It introduced a little bit of time travel, and then at that point, I was sold. But it's so freaking good. I can't recommend it enough. And the humor is so funny, and it's not too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just funny. And so, anyone out there listening, if you haven't watched it before, turn on your Netflix and look up Resident Alien. It's hilarious. And the other one, my kids were watching something on Hulu. I can't even remember what they were watching, but when you get through with something, sometimes Hulu will autoplay just something in your recommended queue. It'll just start autoplaying it. And it started autoplaying the first episode of the classic anime Inuyasha. Did you ever watch that back in the day?
Oh yeah.
I've never watched it a day in my life, and Resident Alien has kind of become my binge at nighttime when the kids are asleep because it's definitely not for kids. But
Yeah.
Inuyasha, my kids and I have been binging it the past week or two, and we're already on episode, I think, 36 maybe. It's so good. And I looked up when it came out. It came out, early 2000s. And again, it's another show. I'm just sitting here thinking, how have I never watched this? It's so good.
Yeah, Inuyasha was fairly popular. I never was a huge fan of it because I was watching other anime at the time.
Uh-huh.
Because it was on Adult Swim.
Okay.
That's how I knew about it anyway.
If my math is right, when it came out, I would have been entering my sophomore year of high school. But yeah, just never watched it, and I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, hey, let's jump into some news. There's a lot of stuff going on with Marvel this week. As you can imagine, we're getting so close to Fantastic Four First Steps. We are less than a month away, I believe, at this point, and they just keep dropping stuff. This makes sense. They've just said that the stuff that we see in Fantastic Four First Steps at the end of the movie will directly connect and lead to Avengers Doomsday. And I'm sure that's not a surprise to anyone.
Cool.
And as of us recording, we haven't seen it yet, but it sounds like the final big full length trailer with a little bit of new stuff in it is coming out Wednesday this week. So tomorrow for us, but as of you guys listening, you can go find it on YouTube or wherever. So that'll be
That's
fun to
awesome.
watch. Yeah. And they're already so confident about this movie that Fantastic Four 2 is already in the development stage. So cool. I'm optimistic about it and I can't wait to see this movie. We're a month away and they're confident in it, so much so that they're already working on number 2.
Oh wow.
Oh, this was kind of cool. Knowing that Doomsday is filming right now and we're getting it pretty soon, I read a thing that Marvel Studios broke some deal with King Charles over in England, and they're using his castle for some scenes in Avengers Doomsday. So I just thought that
Oh,
was kind of cool.
interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what merited that, because these guys are so good at making up sets and everything. Maybe it's
So
for some
it's,
outdoor stuff, maybe. I don't know.
you think it's for Magneto's castle?
Oh, that could be that too. But I don't know. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And let's see. Avengers Secret Wars, which is the second Avengers movie we're going to be getting in the next handful of years. A lot of people were thinking it might be so big that they have to split it into 2 movies. But Marvel officially said themselves that Secret Wars will just be its own movie. It's not going to be 2 movies. So that's good.
Okay.
Oh, this was a cool announcement. I was sitting around scrolling through social media, and Marvel officially posted that when we get Spider-Man Brand New Day, John Bernthal is going to be a big part of that movie as the Punisher. So that's pretty cool.
So interesting.
Yeah, you're the bigger Marvel comic reader than I am. Can you picture in your mind some Punisher Spider-Man team-ups from the past?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful for sure. I don't know why, but one of them that sticks out is one that also is a crossover with like Nova and Moon Knight.
Okay.
And I think another character. I just remember like a lot of it's just like, hey, I don't kill people, him being mad at Frank for that, Frank being like, why are you such a girl? Um, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or like Frank coming after him because everyone says that he's a criminal,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Spider-Man has to convince him that no, I'm not a criminal.
That makes sense.
I mean, the very first time you ever see Punisher in Marvel, right, is through a Spider-Man comic, and he's about to kill him
Okay.
because he's hired because Spider-Man's a menace, considered as wanted.
No, that does make sense. I wonder how this will play out because Spider-Man, it's not PG or anything like that, but I can't see Punisher going full Punisher in a Spider-Man movie where a lot of families and kids are going to go watch it.
Well, hey, maybe we'll finally get White Disco Boot Punisher.
Yeah.
Classic, video game beat 'em up Punisher, white gloves and all,
Yeah.
which would be hilarious, but who knows?
Yep. Let's see. Oh, so today we're recording this on June 24th, and that means tonight Ironheart premieres. So I'm excited to watch that at some point.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys get out there and check it out. The latest rumor about the character Dazzler, there was all that talk about, oh, Taylor Swift might be Dazzler in the MCU. Sounds like the latest chatter that they've talked about, and I think they've talked about it in the past, but it's kind of resurfacing, is they might be pulling in Sabrina Carpenter to be Dazzler in the MCU.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and she's, Disney adjacent. She did the Girl Meets World series and things like that, and she's all grown up now, and yeah, I could see them pulling her in for that. And she's a singer, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
We know that Ultron's going to be appearing in the Vision Quest series, but Marvel just announced that that won't be the last of him, and he will appear in several projects post Vision Quest, so that's kind of cool.
Makes sense.
And then another announcement similar to that, we got Aubrey Plaza playing Death back in the Agatha All Along series. They made a similar announcement about her character, that Agatha All Along was not the last we're going to see of her playing Death, and we're going to be seeing her a few more times in the MCU as well in other projects.
Okay.
And with all the controversy going on around Jonathan Majors and his personal life the past few years, they just announced that maybe we will be seeing him again as Kang after all, before we know it.
Okay. What? Okay.
which there's a lot of loose threads with Kang, I feel like, so hopefully they do wrap that stuff up.
Yeah, if nothing else.
And let's see, Blade, that thing's been on again, off again, on again, off again. Well, they just made an official announcement through Marvel's actual pages that it is officially on again with a 2028 release date.
Oh my god.
So yeah, there's that.
Okay.
Oh, knowing we're getting all these Defenders stuff, we've got Daredevil, we know Jessica Jones is coming back, we know Luke Cage is possibly coming back. The thing about Iron Fist, they haven't really made an official announcement until this week. It sounds like they've announced that Iron Fist will be coming back, but it sounds like the official MCU Iron Fist is going to be in the form of the character Len Lee. Is that how you say his name?
Huh?
Len Lee, but not the Danny Rand version of Iron Fist, the Len Lee version.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
So that's the announcement they made. I've never read anything with that character.
I've read very little.
Yeah. But when we get Iron Fist again, it sounds like that's the version they're going to be putting in the MCU.
Good.
Oh, a little bit of X-Men stuff. The recent ramblings going on out there is that there are two front runners to be Rogue in the X-Men reboot, and it sounds like Margaret Qualley and Hilary Duff are the two latest front runners, according to this article that I read.
Oh.
And you know what's funny is someone like mocked up some images of both of these ladies as Rogue, and just on visuals, not acting chops, not accents or any of that stuff, either one of them would work, I feel like.
Yeah, possibly.
Another X-Men bit of news. We just got that Thunderbolts movie, and it was directed by this guy, Jake Schreier. Well, the same director that directed Thunderbolts, is going to be directing the new X-Men movie.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And speaking of, Daredevil stuff a few minutes ago, Jessica Jones, we know she's set to appear in season 2. Well, Marvel has officially announced that after season 2, Disney Plus will have a new Jessica Jones series, and it's already in development. So cool. Bring on all the Marvel stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
They also announced with that moving forward, all the Disney Plus series in the MCU are going to be more ground level stuff than fantastical stuff. So that makes sense that they're doing all these, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, all that stuff.
More merrier.
Yep. And the next phase of the MCU, they've also announced that it's going to have a more dark, possibly demonic supernatural tone to it than they have in the past.
Inferno.
Yeah.
My guess is they're gonna do Inferno.
Yep.
Which would make Mr. Sinister one of the big bads with the Goblin Queen and Mephisto.
Oh, yeah. That does make sense.
And then that would be another like high stakes thing. Also, Inferno was like one of those events that was like company wide
Yep.
when it happened. So they have plenty of stories from different teams to pull from.
Yep. Well, the last thing with Marvel this week, any kid of the 90s, thinking back on our favorite stuff, like we talked about earlier, one of our favorite things was the Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s, and it ended on a cliffhanger that was never resolved. Well, Marvel Comics this September is doing a 5-issue comic miniseries called Spider-Man 94, and this 5-comic miniseries is going to resolve and conclude the animated series.
Oh my god,
Yep.
that's amazing.
I'm super excited to read it.
Oh man, that's so crazy.
I know. I feel like I might have to start watching that show with my kids between now and September just to put it back in the old brain,
Well, what's crazy is you'll watch it, and at a certain point you'll get to like the Secret War stuff.
Yep.
And the stuff that like was kind of one of the ideas for the Spider-Verse originally.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so...
I'm really jealous that your kids are watching it for the first time.
Yep. I love doing that. Like, that's obviously being a parent's great, but that's one of my favorite things about being a parent is getting to see some stuff through their eyes for the first time,
Yeah, we watched, but I had never seen it either because I just haven't had kids. We watched How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That's a good movie too.
Mm-hmm.
I
It
want
was a
to
good movie.
I want to see the new live action one, but I think I'm gonna wait till it's somewhere streaming.
Yeah.
But I do want to see it. Same with the new
Same.
Lilo and Stitch. I want to see it, but I think I'm gonna wait
Oh,
till it's
New
streaming.
Lilo and Stitch is really good.
Yep. Well, let's see. That's it with Marvel. There's not a ton with DC. It sounds like A little bit of Superman news. Some people in the past week got to see a 30-minute screening. A whole crowd got to watch the first 30 minutes of the movie. And they had been put under some, NDA, don't post about this until July 11th type of a situation, like a legal thing. And I
Yeah.
haven't seen a lot of spoilers or anything like that, but someone did say that this movie opens with a very Star Wars inspired crawl that catches up the viewer to what's going on in this new DCU when we enter the movie. So I thought that was
Oh,
kind of cool.
okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We know there's a Clayface movie that's coming, and they just kind of announced that it's going to be rated R and it's going to be very horror style, which makes sense, obviously. And it's going to be the Basil Carlo version of the character. But yeah, I'm really pumped about seeing this.
They keep talking about it. I still don't see the need for it, but I want to see it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a more of a morbid curiosity thing
Uh-huh.
than it is an actual like want to see it.
Yeah. I wonder if this is how they'll introduce Batman into this new DCU. It's not a Batman movie, but we see
Brave
him
and the
in it.
Bold.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll be his first big movie. I'm just wondering if we'll see him.
Huh.
Speaking of Batman, Matt Reeves, The Batman Part 2, they finally put a filming date to it. It's going to start filming in January 2026. So we still got a little ways off before we get it, but they've
Jeez.
put some dates to it. And I think it still has to do with Matt Reeves' health. He hasn't given up on the movie, but he's got a lot going on right now. And it sounds like it's still going to happen. So that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
The last thing I have with DC this week is it's about the series Lanterns, and we know that it's been mentioned that this is going to be a more grounded, Earth-centric series for these characters, but the latest news said it starts that way, but it does wind up with some more cosmic stuff going on. So that's good to hear, because I feel like Green Lantern stories need that, you know?
I didn't really love the Lantern stories until the whole like Jeff Johns, he grounded him, and then all of a sudden we're like in space for like all of it. Like we're
Yeah.
having wars and stuff. Like I don't know about a grounded Green Lantern. To me just sounds really OP. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah. How does anyone fight that guy?
it's like I mean, honestly, though, what kind of idiot? It's like fighting Superman.
Right? I don't know though, Green Lantern, if they go OG, all they need is to do is like wear some yellow clothes or something.
I mean, yeah, like what if the Lantern, original, like core Lantern has power battery, has that impurity in it still?
Yeah.
Because they get rid of it in the comics at a certain point, but the impurity still in there being parallax is still inside.
Yep. How cool is that going to be to see that on the screen if they do it right?
What if they do the Sinestro War right?
It'll be so good.
I'd puke. I'd be so excited I'd puke.
Oh, yeah. My college days and right out of college, those were my favorite books to read. Even like I love Superman, but I think I was enjoying those even more than I was enjoying Superman.
Jeff John Green Lantern stuff is some of the best DC comics ever made.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even care. I'll fight anyone on that. I love that stuff. I know that it's not technically like the best. You could always bring up stuff like, I don't know, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing or Frank Miller's Batman Returns, or, something like that. But like the Jeff Johns Green Lantern stuff's fun, man.
Oh, yeah.
And has so much heart to it.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel the same way about like Jeff Johns Flash. But,
Yeah. Jeff
you could
Johns just loves comics, and you can tell in all of his stories.
Yeah, it's same thing I like when I read Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you like love the Silver Age. You like love it to the point where it's like I gotta think about what you're even talking about. It's like he makes comics for people who are obsessed with comics.
Yeah.
Final Crisis was such like a mind bender of a thing, and like it took me like twice and someone explaining certain parts of it for me to be like, oh, okay, here we are.
That was a heavy story.
It was heavy, and it was also just like so out there, like the Miracle Machine stuff, or like how you had to get all the Superman from all the different multiverses, and some of them were like basically like concepts of Superman, not even Superman. Oh, it was so bizarre. And then they did like the Black Racer stuff, and then the all the stuff with they finally found the what is called the equation, the
Oh, the anti-life equation. Yeah.
anti-life equation stuff. That stuff, the first time I read it was so just like, what?
Yeah.
And then I had to really go back into like DC comic stuff, and like it was nuts. I'd like watch a video. I remember watching a video and being like, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then realizing, were you reading Batman like 3 years ago? Well, if you weren't, you're gonna not understand this.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's like Grant Morrison just builds on stuff that he's already written at that point. So it was like, it was crazy.
Yep.
But I love the guy to death. I love us. As much as it makes my brain go, what? Half of his stuff, I absolutely love it because I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like it's a comics with a challenge, and I love that.
Yep. Well, let's see. The last little bit of news here on that side of things. Over with Star Wars. The only bit of news we got this week for Star Wars deals with the comics, and there's a new 5-part comic series. Sounds like all these 5-part series are pretty popular these days, but a 5-part series called Han Solo Hunt for the Falcon, and it's going to be a story that fills in the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and we're going to learn how he lost the Millennium Falcon. Because if you remember that first movie with Rey, she finds it in that scrapyard on that planet, and this story is going to explain how that happened, I guess.
Oh, okay. I don't need that, but it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
It better be good.
It sounds like
If they're
he's
gonna make
been
a
living
series out of
his,
it.
yeah, it sounds like he's been living his settled down life as a husband and dad. And he goes on one last mission. He gets Chewie and they go do one last thing in that time frame of their life. And it leads to some trouble. And he loses the Falcon somehow. And we're going to see how.
You know, I was thinking about what's one Star Wars thing that I want to see before I die, and I
Uh-huh.
think I finally figured it out.
Yeah, what's that?
I want Shadows of the Empire
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome.
as a show, as just anything. I want that time frame,
Yep.
and I want it to be able to see it like we can see now everything else.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, just a thought with all the bounty hunters and everything. I mean, they're popular.
Oh, definitely. I feel like anything Star Wars is going to do, even the stuff that people whine about and hate about online, it's still going to do well. People are still going to consume it.
Yeah, but I think it'll do even well right now because of when it came out.
Yeah.
It's like we're all at our age now to enjoy it.
Yep.
I don't know. I just feel like it's money left on the table.
Oh, for sure. Well, hey, I want you to tell us what's going on in the world of wrestling right now.
Okay, so I'm going to talk WWE, and we are in the midst of Night of Champions, which is Saturday. And right now we are in the semifinals to go on to the final round. The men's semifinals the round before will be Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso fighting for the King of the Ring. And then for women, it's Asuka and Jade Cargill.
Oh, okay.
And then, which is like it'll be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which is like big deal. They do this tournament, and at the tournament, you don't get a belt, you get a crown. It's like, and then you can do that once a year and challenge for that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like one of the bigger events a year, so that's Saturday. And then also that night is John Cena versus CM Punk for the World Championship belt. Huge deal because CM Punk has not gone to Saudi Arabia traditionally. He's always kind of been against it, but he's going this year, so they're making a huge deal, especially John Cena is still heel in his heel turn, and he is on his last run for retirement. So this will probably be the last time we see them fight each other. Maybe one more time. We'll see, which I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan got her shoulder hurt and she will have to have surgery. She'll be out for 6 months. So boo to that. She is one of the tag team champions for the women, and it's Intercontinental Tag Team Champions. And yeah, 6 months is a long time. So we'll see what they decide to do with that. On Raw Monday, there was the Intercontinental Women's title was won by Becky Lynch by disqualification against Bailey. There was some some little disqualification due to help from outside sources.
Yeah.
And Goldberg is doing a possible retirement match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. And basically, he hasn't wrestled in forever. It's been like, I think it's been like over 5 years, maybe 7. And he's not a young guy. So he's coming, and they say this might be his retirement match, but they're going to do it on a Saturday night main event on 7/12. So that'll be instead of Saturday Night Live. So people who, just watch on cable, they can watch that.
Yeah.
It sucks because there's a lot of commercials. Like we watch stuff on Peacock on streaming. It's like every time they do those Saturday night things, it's like we feel like half of it's commercials, but the matches are genuinely pretty good.
No, that's really cool.
But that's all I have. If you guys want to hear more about different companies, let me know.
Yeah, with that, if there's anything you guys want to hear about, just tell us, man. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, any of that stuff. Email us, smoke signal us, whatever. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. And then I have one more thing in the world of video games.
Yeah.
Death Stranding 2 is coming out this Friday.
Okay.
Which, if you're a big Kojima fan, this is like he's saying one of like his like masterpieces. But I mean, they say that about every single one of his games that comes out, every single Metal Gear Solid game he's ever put out. I don't doubt it, but I bet it's an amazing game.
Oh, yeah. Man, I miss games that make me so happy. I haven't really played a lot of that kind of game since the last, Tears of the Kingdom. That's my only big level game like that I get into.
Yeah, you were big on the Metal Gear Solid games.
I know what they are, but I've never played a single one of them.
If you like espionage
Uh-huh.
and like that style of in Gundams,
Yep.
kind of Gundams, they're not actual Gundams, they're Metal Gears, but
Yeah.
it's like a mixture of 90s G.I. Joe with anime and Gundams.
Okay.
And if you mixed them all together,
That sounds good to me.
yeah, there's a lot of time stuff that happens too sometimes. It's very interesting.
I will say I have been playing some mean Stardew Valley the past couple months, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I've always wanted to try to play is that Hogwarts Legacy game, and I borrowed it from the local library, and I just got it today, actually, so I might see what that game's like in the next week.
Oh, awesome.
It looks pretty fun, kind of an RPG style, open world Harry Potter game. So, have you or Lauren ever played that?
We have it.
You have it? Okay.
Lauren's played it. Haven't gotten to it. I'm gonna play it eventually.
Gotcha. I'm assuming you've watched her play it. Does it look pretty cool?
Yeah, it looks fun.
Sweet. Well, I'm excited to try it. Well, let's see. To round off our news here, do you remember that 80s arcade classic game called Dragon's Lair?
Yeah,
Well, it sounds like Netflix is going to be turning that into a movie.
they had talked about that for a long time.
Yep. And it sounds like Ryan Reynolds is attached not only to, I think, help produce this movie, but to star in it as the main protagonist, Dirk the Daring.
Awesome.
And we've talked about it a few times, the Toxic Avenger movie that's coming up with Peter Dinklage playing Toxie. Well, they've only released teasers so far, and they released the first full-length trailer a couple of days ago, and I watched it, and oh my gosh, it's going to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very out there. Very, very mature, very R-rated plus plus plus.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it looks fun. It kind of has this, I don't know another way to say it, but when you watch a movie like Napoleon Dynamite or maybe Nacho Libre,
Oh yeah.
it's different,
Like
of course, but it kind of has
like
that
it's
feel
poking fun
to
at
it.
itself.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
very indie feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like the first one.
Yeah, that's how I felt watching this trailer, and I'm very excited to watch it. Definitely not one for the kiddos, though.
No, not at all.
Oh, another video game tidbit here for fans of the Pokemon franchise. We know that the character Eevee can transform into many different ones. I think, what is it? After Eevee, it's Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon, and then later we got the Espeon and Umbreon, and then later we got the Sylveon. Well, for the first time in I think a decade or more, they announced they're making a new one of Eevee, and I think it's going to be a ghost type, which sounds like maybe
Oh,
in its lore it dies or something, and I don't know the lore of it, but that sounds like we're getting a new Eevee evolution, and it's a ghost type. So my son Oliver is very excited about it.
that's awesome.
We've talked a little bit about the Henry Cavill Highlander remake, and they just released a little bit of news that this will not be a remake of the original. It's going to be a completely fresh take with the Highlander concept.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool. And they just announced that Russell Crowe will be in this movie with Henry Cavill. And if you can remember the Sean Connery role in the original, it sounds like Russell Crowe will be doing that in this new rebooted franchise.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Oh, did you ever back in the day watch Land of the Lost?
Yeah, loved it.
Well, it sounds like Netflix is making a brand new rebooted series of Land of the Lost coming soon. I think that'll be kind of
Whoop.
fun to watch with some, updated graphics for sure.
No, you got to keep it campy and bad looking.
Yeah. I remember the extremely original one from the 70s, maybe even earlier. And then we got that kind of kid version in the 90s. I loved it. And then
They
now
made
we're
the
getting,
movie.
and yeah, oh yeah, the movie with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, movie with Will Ferrell.
And then now it sounds like we're getting a more serious toned one. I don't
That's
know.
fun.
I'm excited. I think it'll be fun.
Mm.
We know that Amazon is about to make the next installment of James Bond, and it sounds like their front runner to play the next 007 is Aaron Taylor Johnson, aka he just played Craven the Hunter in that movie.
Oh,
So that seems to be an interesting choice, but we'll see what they do with that.
yeah, I don't know. I don't like that idea.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean 6 is officially in the works, and it sounds like they will be bringing back the original cast to this movie.
All right.
And that's the last bit of movie news locally this weekend. As of you guys listening here in the Kansas City area, we actually have two conventions happening. Kansas City Crypticon, which is that horror convention. But of course, these horror actors are multi-talented people and they find themselves in all kinds of stuff. I think I'm most excited to go because Warwick Davis is going to be there and I've always wanted to meet him so bad. If you don't know who that is, guys, that's Willow. That's the leprechaun from those horror movies. That's Wicket, the Ewok from Return of the Jedi. He's Professor Flitwick and the banker, Gringotts banker goblin on Harry
Yeah.
Potter. Yeah, I'm so
Mhm.
excited. And there's a handful of other great guests. I think the other one that I'm super excited is Michael Cutlitz, who you either know him as Abraham from The Walking Dead, but more recently in the past two seasons of Superman and Lois, he was Lex Luthor. And I'm
You can meet
totally having him.
Terrifier too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I have a Lex Luthor battle armor pop that I'm going to have him sign because he wore the battle armor in the final season. So that's
That's
going to be
awesome.
cool. Oh, and then the other event is this. It's got a unique long name, the Animeverse Fest, WrestleFest, Kansas City. It's an event that's going to pull in tons of celebs from both anime and wrestling. And the big draw for me with that one is Zachary Tyler Eisen, who played Aang in Avatar The Last Airbender, as well as the voice of Sokka is going to be there, and a handful of others. Janet Varney, who I met in the past, who played Korra, and Christopher Sabat, who's All Might and Dragon Ball Z characters, and a million other anime characters. He's going to be there, and several others. But yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention over at the Crypticon, they had a last minute change. One of the Walking Dead actors had to cancel for personal reasons, but they're bringing in Dietrich Bader. He's one of my favorite actors.
Oh, that's awesome.
He was, for those of you listening, I first knew him from the Beverly Hillbillies reboot in the 90s where they made that movie, and he was Jethro, and then he was in the Drew Carey Show, but he's also the voice of Batman from the Brave and the Bold cartoon with the Hammers of Justice.
That's amazing.
They didn't make any pops of that series, but I have a Batman pop called Retro Batman, and he looks just like that cartoon's Batman. I'm totally having him sign that.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Anyway, local folks, there's a lot of fun happening in KC this weekend. So go find yourself at one of these places. Go to their website. Their tickets are super cheap too. I love Planet, but it is not as expensive as Planet. But yeah, go find these and have a good time.
Awesome.
But hey, that is all the news for this week. We hope you've learned some things, found some new fun stuff to go watch or play or whatever. But as for us here at the Taylorverse, I've been Billy Taylor.
I'm Taylor Oxter.
And come back next week, guys. Same Taylor time, same Taylor channel.
Bye.
Bye.